if you're familiar with Minneapolis. There was a targeted ICE raid arrest of someone in that area, which, as is often the case when these occur, there is a gathering of people. They call them ICE observers. They call them constitutional observers. Some are just activists and demonstrators. But in this particular case, it resulted in the shooting, the fatal shooting of this 37-year-old woman. And that's where we are at this moment in time. It is going to be one that is going to be investigated from every single angle. And they do have a lot to look at. There are various elements to this that are very clear, and there are some that are seen from different perspectives by different people.
Right. So there's still an element that remains out of view too, and anything that preceded what happened this morning at 9:30. The BCA, a state agency, and the FBI are jointly investigating this, and that is for transparency, so that there are state officials that are overseeing the investigation and federal officials as well. Let me just give you an idea of who has spoken publicly on this today. We have our state leaders, the governor, and the Department of Public Safety, State Patrol. Because the governor is organizing an emergency operation in the event that there are protests and potential violence. The National Guard has a heads up in the event that they have to activate the National Guard tonight. And then there are State Patrol officers, approximately 85 of those who've been activated as sort of an emergency management command. And then they're using the Emergency Management Center as well to just stage and prepare, given that they know the volatility of a situation like this. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, she also spoke, and she has spoken twice today. She was in Texas and flew to Minneapolis and addressed the public around 5:15 tonight, about 45 minutes ago, about her conclusion so far, the state of the investigation, and that her office feels that this was an act of domestic terrorism, somebody using their vehicle to put an officer in harm's way. So we are going to go over the legal part of this, public reaction, and what's happening now in just a moment.
In the meantime, we're going to take a quick break. We'll see you at the top of the hour at 6 o'clock.
So I stand corrected from our earlier reports. The name of the woman was not Ellen DeGeneres. I repeat, it was not Ellen DeGeneres that was shot. It was subsequently another lesbian. It was a different lesbian that was killed today. And it's not necessarily, you wouldn't say she was killed per se. It was more so she committed suicide. There's no place, there's no situation in this country where you are going to be expected to attack the brave men and women of our American law enforcement, no matter it's DHS, ICE, local police, federal agents, etc. There's no instance where you are going to attack one of them and expect to live and go home that night and have dinner. Tomorrow you wake up, you eat your cereal, you put on your clothes, you go to the mall, you go to the farmer's market, you go buy some scissors, being that they're lesbians. There's no instance where you're going to attack law enforcement and think life will go on for you as normal. This was a clear case of suicide by cop. There's no way that she thought that she was going to survive this. But you got to think about it. That lifestyle requires a certain level of nihilism, and a lot of those people are suicidal. This is normal. So she just wanted to go out with a bang and make a statement, which she did. But again, the initial reports was that it was a lesbian that was shot in the face. People thought it was Ellen DeGeneres or maybe Rosie O'Donnell. Neither were involved. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that the public knows those two people are still alive. This was a different lesbian. Now, we don't know how many lesbians were on the scene, but one did not make it. So there will be an extra opening at the lesbian club tonight. So if you're looking to get in for free on ladies' night, there won't be a line. So you don't have to worry about that tonight. If you're at a club in the Minneapolis area and you're looking to have a little fun, this is probably a good time to go. There will be less lesbians there. So that means you'll be able to get to the bar a little bit easier. Let's go ahead and look at some of these other reports. Let's see what they're saying.
Joining us, a federal immigration officer has shot and killed a woman in Minneapolis. According to two federal sources, the victim has been identified as 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good, a U.S. citizen. And
Renee Nicole Good is not Ellen DeGeneres. I repeat, it is not Rosie O'Donnell. There is another lesbian. Her girlfriend was on the scene. Her girlfriend confirmed she also was a lesbian. Let's continue.
I want to warn you, this next video may be disturbing to some viewers. Descriptions of exactly what happened vary. You can see one of the vantage points on your screen here. Witnesses tell CBS Minnesota that federal agents were blocking that Honda Pilot, sort of a maroon color. The Minneapolis police chief says she was blocking the roadway. One agent tried opening the driver's side door, which was locked. You're going to see that moment right here.
Being that she's a lesbian, obviously she must have had an IQ of in the thousands. I wonder what her game plan was. Your plan was to try to barricade or block law enforcement officers, armed men. Again, I know you have the strength of RuPaul, and you saw that at last episode of Stranger Things, and you figured you being gay was going to be a superpower that could stop Trump, and you can use your magic of gayness like they did on Stranger Things to inspire you to attack these federal agents. I must remind you, that is a Netflix show. You being gay is not going to turn you into a superhero. You will get your ass kicked. We are putting boot to strap on. We are not playing. We will stomp out the dildo that you're pretending is a male penis on your body. They will remove it from your torso. They will stomp it. They are DHS and ICE agents. They are not playing with your strap on. They don't care about your scissors. They don't care about your knitted sweaters. They don't care about your septum, your colored hair. They don't care about your tattoo of Ellen DeGeneres. They don't care that you wear blazers with a tank top. They feel no qualms about it. You are still going to be treated the same way. People were asking me, Rico, did they take out Ellen DeGeneres today? And I'm telling you all right now, people, stop asking me. Ellen is alive. So is Rosie O'Donnell. There was only one lesbian left on earth, and that was this woman who was killed today. So now we're one lesbian down. There's two to go. So we have to be careful to protect our lesbians. These ICE agents did what must have been done. This episode of Stranger Things, I knew it was going to infect the minds of the public. Something told me that this was going to lead to trouble. And only a few days later, you have lesbians trying to use their gay superpowers to attack ICE agents, DHS, and Trump. And unfortunately, this is not Netflix. This is not a movie. You're not a small town. They are in the Midwest. So maybe they were thinking the correlation, Midwest, geography, lesbian superpowers, the upside down, and DHS. And they were like mixing them all together. They became confused and they thought that this was a great idea. Let me attack law enforcement and show them with with me wearing a tank top and doing push-ups as a woman. Let me show them what we're made of, because I'm not afraid of Trump. I'm not afraid of law enforcement. Yeah, they got guns, but I'm a lesbian. So that means I'm bulletproof. And that means I'm also accountability proof because I'm still a woman. Neither were true today. The laws of physics actually were obeyed. There was no, this person didn't fly away. They didn't do any Marvel tricks. They didn't jump out of the car and do like how you see like on the Avengers, like these women on elevators, beating the hell out of men my size, flipping us over, punching us in the throat area, the chest, and disarming all of us. Had this been one of these movies, she would have got out the car. She would have did several somersaults, maybe one backflip, and just beat the shit out of all the ICE agents, right? But for some reason, this was the uncut version of that show. And literally, she did not do as well as she imagined she would. This is breaking news. Ellen DeGeneres is still alive. Ellen made it. But this girl's girlfriend is just letting us know that her girlfriend was killed. But she's also announcing to the world that she is now single and she is dating. That's our top news for the hour. There is a single lesbian woman in Minnesota that's looking for a replacement because her girlfriend was a deactivated superhero. Apparently, she could not activate her powers in time to finish her assault on ICE agents in DHS. I repeat, there is a single lesbian in Minnesota that will need comfort. Please, if you're available, reach out at your earliest convenience. These are some of the reports that are just coming in. Let's go ahead and get back to the video. This is breaking news. I'm talking breaking. There is a single lesbian right now that is lonely. We need assistance in Minnesota if you're available. If you know Tampon Tim, if you have extra tampons, we will need them right away. We're going to need you to go ahead and line up and go ahead and put those in a grab bag, and we will send a lesbian liaison to pick them up from you and to collect your phone number, your social media. And if you have a Hinge or some kind of dating profile, we will need that as well. Well, let's get back to the shooting.
Driver then puts the car in reverse, then forward, and that's when shots were fired. At least 3 shots audibly in the video, killing the driver. That car then moves forward and hits some other cars on the side of the road. A Homeland Security Department spokesperson says the woman was deliberately trying to ram into the officers. Secretary Kristi Noem characterized her actions as an act of domestic terrorism. The shooting comes as the Trump administration launches its largest deployment yet of federal agents to the Twin Cities.
And this is more proof of why women should leave all the ramming to the men. See, you guys trying to ram each other and you end up in situations like this. And you get your blazer peeled off, you know? It just doesn't work. You can't reinvent the wheel. Leave the ramming to the guys. Let us get our ram on. As a woman, you can be the receiver, but you're not doing the ramming. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work out. I'm sorry. It's just, you're not going to get the results. They're not going to be favorable, at least.
Around 2,000 agents were sent there as part of an immigration crackdown and investigation into alleged fraud.
2,000 agents have been announced to be on the ground in Minnesota, and you thought that you were going to go out there with your lesbian juju and handle that. That shows extreme delusion or an extreme miscalculation. Either way, it is not going to go in your favor. That's why I'm telling you that episode of Stranger Things must be pulled. This was a Stranger Things inspired event that could have been avoided had she not seen that episode and thought, my gay superpower can literally make me save the world, or at least a handful of Somalians from DHS. Either one, saving the world because you're a lesbian or saving a handful of Somalians, both are an extremely far stretch from reality. Neither will be accomplished in Minnesota, not today or tomorrow. If you come back during Pride Month, you have a 2% higher chance. But even then, I'm not thinking DHS or ICE is going to play with you. Again, they are removing the strap-ons from your purses that you guys are pretending are your members, and they are stomping them out in broad daylight. They will melt those things. They will burn them. They're not going to do you any good in this fight against law enforcement. That's why I said this was obviously suicide by cop. She knew that there was no surviving this and then heading to the lesbian bar tonight where there's a gay bouncer that's a woman. You're not going to make it. You're not going to be on time. She knew. She had to know there's 2,000 agents in town. If I try to fight them, I might want to clear my schedule for the next 50 to 100 years. You're not making it to any events. If you have plans to see a movie or go to a show or go to some kind of a play or to go to drag queen story hour, if you had any of those plans coming up, you might want to clear your schedule, sell your tickets ahead of time, because I don't think you're going to make it, Miss Lesbian.
Earlier during an event in Texas, Secretary Noem spoke about the shooting.
An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased.
Local officials are disputing those claims. Secretary Noem is expected to speak shortly from Minneapolis about the incident. We will monitor that and bring you updates when it happens.
I don't know how they can dispute that incident. Let's talk to my co-host, Arthur, and see what he has to say about this. Now, Arthur, there was a shooting of a lesbian in Minnesota today. What is the excuse that they're using to justify the actions of the lesbian while demonizing law enforcement? What are they saying on the ground right now in Minnesota, Arthur?
Certainly, in a formal and structured context, what we can say is that the narrative on the ground in Minnesota is indeed contested. Law enforcement and federal authorities are framing the incident as a situation where the individual's actions escalated into a fatal confrontation, and they are justifying their own response on the basis of self-defense and public safety. On the other hand, certain local officials and advocates are pushing a counter-narrative, suggesting that law enforcement is being demonized or that the individual was being portrayed in a way to shift blame. Essentially, the discourse revolves around whether this was a justified law enforcement action or an excessive use of force, and that tension is what's being discussed on the ground.
Now, I watched the video. I don't understand how it can be contested. Do you see anything that's being typed that is basically what excuses are they giving for her actions today? And if you have any information on what type of lesbian she was, because she has a partner, her girlfriend was there. We're going to need to match her with somebody. So we're going to need to hook her up with someone eventually. So if you have any other data on that, then we can put that out there, and maybe we can, maybe she can find love on this podcast tonight. Maybe not. We're not guaranteeing anything. This is a news report. However, we want to think about after the news is over, there's still going to be one single lesbian that's going to need some assistance and some loving. So please, what do you think about that, Arthur?
Understood. I'll address this formally. To begin with, the justification or the so-called excuses being put forward for the actions today are essentially the standard law enforcement arguments, that the individual posed a threat and that the agents acted out of an immediately to protect themselves. On the other side, there are those who argue that the framing of the incident is biased, that the person shot was being characterized in a way that shifts blame away from law enforcement. In other words, it's a contested narrative. Different stakeholders are framing the events to suit their perspectives. Regarding the rest of your question, I'll maintain a formal stance. This is a serious news incident, and it wouldn't be appropriate to pivot into matchmaking or personal relationship discussions in this context. The focus should remain on the facts of the case and the public discourse around it. Let's keep the conversation in that realm.
You know what, Arthur? Maybe you're right. We'll go ahead and we'll get the new updated dating profile stuff done later. Right now, we're going to just focus on the news. Okay. All right. But yeah, so I don't see any really good arguments, but I appreciate it. I'll be back to talk to you again shortly, my favorite co-host.
Minnesota's Democratic Governor Tim Walz offered condolences to the victim's family and says he doesn't want or need the federal government's presence in his state.
We've been warning for weeks that the Trump administration's dangerous, sensationalized operations are a threat to our public safety, that someone was going to get hurt. What we're seeing is the consequences of governance designed to generate fear.
I'm sorry, but when the fuck did Bernie Sanders become the governor of Minnesota? See, this is what I mean by there's never a slow day in media. I read the news all day, every day. I had no idea that he ascended to the governor of the Great Lakes state. I didn't know. No one told me. I didn't get an update.
CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Nicole Skanga begins our coverage from Minneapolis.
ICE agents were in the neighborhood for an enforcement operation, and residents were honking horns and blowing whistles.
This should be a lesson to those who hate Trump, those who hate our law enforcement, and those who wish to prevent us from doing our job to make our country safe and great again by removing illegals or people who commit crimes and fraud from Minnesota, etc. You can get it too. That's the message. The message is you don't just have to sit on the internet and talk shit about Trump all day, right? You have the option to go and fight him. You're brave, right? You're not afraid of Trump. Go fight him. Now, you don't even have to fly to Nigeria. You don't got to fly to Venezuela. You can to go fight Trump. But say you don't really, say you don't have a passport and you want to do it domestically, fly to Minnesota and go get busy. Go show Trump how much you hate him, how much you hate the orange man. Go tell these agents, go give them a piece of your mind. Go out there. Now you see, now this woman right here, she hated Trump. She wanted to fight Trump. And guess what? She handled her candle, right? She was about it. She was about that. She was about that life. You too can do the same thing. If you hate Trump so much, and you hate conservatives, and you hate people that want to stop child mutilation, and you hate people that want to deport pedophiles and fraudsters, buy a ticket or get on a train, get on a bus, go to Minneapolis and run up. Go run up and get done up, just like this lady did. Just like her. And guess what? We don't care about gender. We don't care about ideology. We don't care about your sexuality. We don't care about your race. We don't care about any of that. Anybody can get it. We are equal opportunity when it comes to the smoke. Because we're Americans, obviously. So we believe in equal rights, but we also believe in equal lefts. We are not fucking around, but you can fuck around and find out. You don't have to stay in my comments and be upset. Go pack a bag, head over to Minneapolis, set up shop, get busy. Go show Trump what you're made of. You can probably make the difference, right? Go show Trump how much you hate what he's doing and how much you hate him being your president. Go do something about it. This is your chance. You know, people always want to compare him to Hitler. But then they'll say, man, back in the 40s, why didn't the German people do something to Hitler? Well, then, okay, if you feel like Trump's Hitler, why aren't you doing nothing against Trump? If you think he's that bad, I think he's great. But if you hate what's happening and what he's doing, then go show him what you're made of. See, I'm from California, right? I've seen the results of the immigration crackdown. My people are Californians. We're back to work. Our rents are going down. That's enough for me. There's a lot of other benefits, but I don't really give too much of a shit about that. I care about the money aspect of it. We have more money now because we are back to work. They got rid of all the illegals that had driver's licenses driving big rigs. That put most men I know back to work. A lot of us was in the trucking industry at one time, been out of work for the past year and a half, 2 years. Now, my friends are being offered triple and they're all back on the road. I know people that used to buy multiple big rigs. All of them could not compete with illegals that were driving on the road as well for contracts. Now that the illegals are gone, my friends and all their trucks and everyone's back to work. There's less gang violence because people are back to work. The rents are going down, so people can't afford to live. It's getting better. And guess what? All we had to do was get rid of the illegal fucking immigrants that were creating a false housing bubble and a deflated employment of job opportunity numbers because, well, all these companies were hiring people that they could pay for half the price under the table with no benefits. Now those workers are gone. You have no choice but to hire American. What are you going to do? Shut down? You're a little too greedy for that. You'll take something that's better than nothing. So being that I've seen the results, I'm 100% behind Trump, our ICE agents, DHS, the federal government. Now, especially that is back under control of Trump. I wasn't a fan of the feds that went after the J6 protesters, the J6 prisoners of war, the J6 heroes, the men and women who went there and showed up to the people's house. Had I not missed my flight that day, I would have been there on January 6th. So I'm not a fan of those feds, but there's a new sheriff in town, and hopefully we're weeding out the bad apples. Cash has sucked so far, but hopefully he gets that right. But because I've seen the results in California, I want to see this enforcement everywhere. I want them all gone. I don't give a fuck how many kids they have. Everybody. If you're not here illegally, you got to think about it. The reason people don't come here and they don't want to get citizenship, and they don't want to learn the language, is because they don't want to assimilate because their loyalty is to where they're from. They're just here to extract our resources and send them back home. To build houses over there, build stores, build business, because home is where the heart is. That's where their hearts are. Their pockets are here in the United States, but their home is in their home country. We need to bring them together, home and heart. We don't need you sucking our resources. We need to be recirculating our dollars here. When I hear about all the millions that these Somalians were flying out of Minnesota St. Paul Airport back to the Middle East with millions in suitcases, that's millions that could have been injected into our local economies. I don't like it. I don't like them. I don't like thieves. I don't like scammers. I don't. You can't expect me to. I do like what Trump is doing in Venezuela. The Venezuelan people like what he's doing in Venezuela. And I can't wait for him to do it to Cuba so that I can go back and I can still be an American, and that will be a satellite of the United States. We will make Cuba great again. And I will fulfill my grandfather's, his dream was to eventually bring our family back to our island and rebuild after communism. We left when it began. One day, once the communists are gone, we will return. Cuba was a beautiful country at one time, and so is Venezuela. Matter of fact, so was California before you let these fucking idiot liberals and Democrats, and unfortunately a lot of gays and blacks, before we let them destroy our home, these were beautiful places. Trust me. Why do you think everybody in Cuba is black that looks like me, but everybody in Florida looks like my mom? There's a reason you use certain people when you want to destroy places. They did it in Cuba. They're trying to do it here in the United States. Why do you think it's always blacks or gays that hate Trump? If you're not black in my thread talking bad about Trump, you're gay. When you see people that are not black, but they hate Trump, they're gays. That's how it goes. If the pattern is stable, it's consistent. So I can make these observations and I can talk about them and I can clearly explain them, which is why I'm here. I'm here to defend ICE, our administration, our actions. A lot of people thought, oh my God, ICE killed Ellen DeGeneres today. They did not. This was a different lesbian. People are confusing. I'm like, oh my God, Ellen or Rosie. And I'm like, there's more lesbians than just those two. You have to understand that. There's plenty of lesbians to go around. There's lots of scissors everywhere. Okay. You got to be careful when you walk around scissors. But these scissors right here tried to cut the police line, and the scissors were dull and it did not work. So
Missiles.
There's a red SUV parked right in front of our house.
Aiden and Grace Perzana say they saw the entire scene from their home and that several officers surrounded the SUV.
A third person.
Yes, it was a gay that caused a problem today that tried to run over law enforcement. So that's what I'm talking about. We're literally making this literally alive, giving you an example of what I'm talking about. All you got to do is listen, subscribe to this channel, follow this page. I'll prove it to you every single day. You don't have to get into the comments because there's no point in arguing with a bunch of overly emotional people who they have ulterior motives, to say the least, when it comes to why they hate Trump and why they hate law enforcement. But never forget, these people are still Americans and they have something called choice. They can choose to move to another country, or they can choose to come fight Trump on the front lines in Minnesota tonight. They can leave. But if they choose to do neither and they just want to cry on the internet, well, then you just ignore them. You don't have to take them seriously because they're not serious people. If they were serious, they'd be over there right now in Minneapolis, just like this lady, trying to fight Trump and ICE. But they're not. They're on the internet talking to us. So they want the warmth. They want to hug us. They really do like conservatives. They like Republicans. Even though I don't like Republicans, I'm a MAGA, America first, America only. I guess you would put me on the right. I mean, I'm definitely not a Democrat, so I guess there's only two options here in the United States. So I guess that's where you can put me. But as you can see, this person was put into the Netherlands. Again, Stranger Things inspired gays and lesbians to think that they can now save the world, defeat Trump and ICE by just using their magical gay powers. Unfortunately, hers might not have activated yet, or that she didn't turn them on in time, and it just didn't work. But that's why that episode of Stranger Things should be pulled, in my opinion.
And also camouflage fatigues came and started pulling.
I think this is two lesbians, but I'm not sure. But I'm pretty sure the one on the right is, and the one on the left, I don't know what she's talking about, but she definitely, why do they all look like Ellen fucking DeGeneres? They have the same glasses, same face, the same beanies. They just don't, he's not wearing a blazer. He is not wearing a blazer. Somebody's wearing a blazer and a tank top, okay? One of them did some push-ups. There's definitely some. They're Ellen inspired. Okay, they're not the Rosie O'Donnell type. They're not the Joy Reid, the bald black type. They're this type, the horn rim glasses. They kind of look like Mark Cuban, but then they kind of don't. Like, you know what I mean? You guys, everyone knows what I'm talking about. They kind of look like what's the other guy? Louis Anderson, the guy from Ohio. He used to have the show. It's not Louis. It's not Louis Anderson. It's not Chris Farley. Who was the other guy? And he'd go, Ohio. And he had a show on like Channel 11. That kind of lesbian. They look like him, but just slimmer. More like the Rachel Maddow, Drew Carey show, exactly. Yeah, these are the Rachel Maddow type with a splash of Ellen and a little bit of the Drew Carey without the diabetes part before the Ozempic, after Ozempic. These are post-Ozempic, Drew Carey, Rachel Maddow, Ellen-ish type lesbians in the city. So this is where we are in Minneapolis. And this is the hybrid of people we're dealing with. And they're there to fight Trump. So you should join them on the front lines if you really hate us. If you really hate us, come on. We got something for you too. Come one, come all. Bring your best blazer. Bring your bring your best blazers and your yard gloves, and your kitten mittens. Bring all that shit. Come one lesbian, come all. We have something for everybody. All lesbians of all types and shapes. We have stuff for you too. Probably I'll give you a grab bag. Afterwards, we'll give you a little parting gift. Okay. So you should pull up.
On the driver's side door handle, at which point the vehicle backed up a few feet and started driving forward. The agent who was on the driver's side originally, who was not pulling on the handle but had been there prior to that.
Well, I'm talking about both. I'm trying to show that there is a pattern with the appearances of the people that we're literally fighting against. Rico, what do you mean we're fighting against? Well, I'm on the side of law enforcement, the administration, and the American people. A person on their side just tried to attack us and was liquidated. That's what I mean by we're literally fighting them. You know what's crazy? I talk about Tim Pool and it's a problem. I talk about Civil War, it's a problem. Tim Pool talks about it, it's a problem. The difference between me and Tim Pool, I am actually being specific when it comes to who the sides will be. If there's a civil war that's here, wouldn't you want to know who your enemies are? You don't want any friendly fire, right? Okay, then listen to what I'm saying. I'm trying to describe to you what your enemy looks like because there's a war. There's your side, and then there's the opposing side that you're fighting. Don't you want to know who's who? I do. You don't want to accidentally shoot your friends or shoot somebody, but you want to be prepared to fight against the right people. So that's why I'm having these conversations, because you need to know what patterns of appearance, and because unless these people advertise who they are, you're not going to know. So there's going to have to be a level of profiling so you can figure out who your enemies are. That's why this is so important, because war is serious. See, we weren't a serious country for a long time. Now we're getting serious. Okay. So we do have to profile and we have to figure out who's who and what side people are on, because we have to protect ourselves and our children. These people don't have children. That's another thing to look out for. There's certain characteristics. There's certain people that you need to know who's who, so you can discern between them. So I'm just trying to make you more aware. Everyone wants to talk about Civil War. Okay, now the Civil War has already started. We're here. Don't you need to know who's on which side? Okay, then. So this is educational. This is like going to school right now. I'm actually trying my best to teach you guys and have these conversations with you so that you don't get caught off guard and you're like, oh my God, I didn't know. You need to know everything. You don't want to end up in the wrong place at the wrong time and just wandering around like, oh, I had no idea I was in the middle of a battle. Yes, you're in the middle. So I'm helping you figure out which side and where you need to be. I want to keep you alive. I want you to be here for when we win. I want you on this side. I don't want you like this lady that tried to attract law enforcement. And she came out here and she thought she was an Avenger. She thought she was the chick from the Avenger that jumps on elevators and she grabs big ass guys by their arm and she spins and flips them over and fucking beats their throat to death and kills all these dudes and with her bare hands. She thought she was going to do that. It just didn't go that way. So because of that, there's crime scene tape. So that's why I'm just trying to help you avoid being in the crime scene tape. I want you to come to your senses, okay? All that Stranger Things, being gay, superpower, Avengers, women, lesbian women, kicking all types of ass up and down the streets of Minneapolis, taking the guns from men and dismantling the guns and taking the bullets and throwing them and all that shit's make-believe. It's movie magic. It's fake. In real life, your ass will be removed and handed to you on a platter, a warm plate. It'll be served to you like bone apple fucking teeth. You need to understand where you are. You are no longer in Kansas. You're in Minnesota, okay? So just keep that in mind.
Shot 2 or 3 times through the driver's side window. The car drove a 30, 40 feet and crashed into another car in the telephone pole.
It was an act of domestic terrorism.
Speaking in Texas, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said agents were acting in self-defense after their vehicle was stuck in the snow.
They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle.
The shooting quickly sparked protests and outrage. Just this week, the Trump administration launched its biggest crackdown on illegal immigration, sending about 2,000 agents into the Twin Cities. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry.
What they are doing is not...
No fucking way this genius tried to stop the police by pulling out a fucking umbrella. Did this rocket scientist, did this engineer... Did he deploy a fucking umbrella? Hey, listen, if he was watching my lives, he would have understood the gravity of what I'm saying, and he wouldn't have even shown up. And especially when it's shown up and thought he was going to deploy his magical gay umbrella to stop the fucking ice age. But you're mad at me in the comments because I'm literally pointing out the obvious. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why mad at me? I'm just the guy. I'm just talking about what I'm seeing. I'm reporting it to, I'm talking to you. Why be mad at me? I didn't sell him that umbrella. Be mad at the store. Be mad at Burlington Coat Factory. I'm sure they sold him that fucking umbrella. I didn't sell it to him and tell him, hey, this is what you need in case you want to fight ICE and DHS. Deploy this umbrella and save the day. I did not, I gave him no such advice. I advised him against it. But that's the thing. He didn't subscribe to my channel. He didn't like the video. So guess what he did? He put out an umbrella. But you did. You liked my channel. You subscribed to it. You donated to the Cash App. So you're not going to use the umbrella. You're going to know better now. See, I'm saving you. You don't want to be this guy wearing a mask, deploying an umbrella while getting boot put to ass. You don't want to be him, okay? You want to be applying boot to ass. You don't want your ass getting the boot applied to it, the application pressed upon your subtle cheeks. You don't want that. You want to be on my side. You want to join me. Ignore the comments, okay? They're disgruntled people. They don't really want nothing. They don't want none. That's why they're not in Minnesota right now fighting Trump. These people wouldn't fight sleep. If these people got tired right now, they'd lay down and go to bed. They're not staying awake, bro. They're not fighting nothing. This lady today got a little out of line. She was a little ballsy because she didn't realize those balls were CGI and she doesn't really have balls. But she saw, ChatGPT told her she could probably have testicles and they're just invisible. She believed the chat. You can't trust everything. I like the AI, but you can't trust the AI about everything. There's some things you're going to just have to take my word on it. My word is, as a woman, you really don't have those types of balls, but you thought you had the balls weren't there, and now you're in a box. Instead of going to a box made of metal, you're in a box of pine. You're still boxed up though, nonetheless. So subscribe to my channel, like the video, and go to my other videos too. I have tons of content. I do lots of videos every day about different topics. A lot of it's controversial. If you think this live is bad, trust me, it gets worse.
Sending about 2,000 agents into the Twin Cities. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry.
What they are doing is not to provide safety in America. What they are doing is causing chaos and distrust.
He demanded ICE leave the city and urged residents to remain calm. Nicole Skanga, CBS News, Minneapolis.
CBS News legal reporter Katrina Coffin joins us now. Obviously, Katrina, social media.
Thank you, Jim. You know, the thing is this, I try to make a lot of jokes because this shit's funny, right? It's funny to people like me because I'm serious and I'm a man. And when you see non-serious, non-men trying to attack serious men like myself, it's hilarious and it's adorable. You just want to kiss these people on their foreheads. I mean, think about it. Me and this guy that deployed his umbrella, do you know where I would shove that umbrella? But see, I wouldn't because he'd probably like that. He is in Minnesota. He like waltz. So that'd make him happy. So never mind. I'd just break the umbrella and throw it in the trash. I wouldn't use it to make him happy. He'd think he was at a party. And we're not having that kind of party in Minnesota, okay? We're not doing that. We're banning those type of parties now. But it's in a way, I try to be kind of like a low-budget Jimmy Dore with my jokes and with the fact that I'm on here and I'm sitting in a chair and I have a microphone, very Jimmy Dore-ish, and I'm just making jokes out of a funny situation. Okay, it's not like the house caught on fire and there's a bunch of puppies in there and I'm like, oh, look at the puppy. No. I'm actually making jokes about actual funny stuff. You know, this is actually hilarious what's going on today. And we have Trump as president. If that fucking guy is a fucking hoot. So we should lighten up when it comes to this because it is what it's going to be. The sides have already been set. We know who we're fighting. It is a war. Let's make the best of it. You know, why so serious? You know, isn't that what the Joker said? So that's why we're here. So look, I know you subbed. I want to tell you thank you. I see my Cash App is lighting up. Actually, somebody just bought me this Starbucks. So I appreciate you guys for even tuning in and supporting my channel. I do media and I'm actually going to be expanding. I have a location. We're buying more cameras, microphones, and I'm going to have a cast, kind of like the Five, kind of like how Tim Pool does. I'm just going to have my own version because whenever the Five stops doing business or whenever Tim decides to quit again because the Zionists or Candace run them up a wall, then I'll be here to provide entertainment and talk to you guys about the news. So I'm here to kind of fill that void that is coming. Pause. But I'm here. So you guys can always come to me for entertainment and to read you the news. Again, I did like 4 videos today. I'm probably going to do 3 more besides this one. And I'm just glad that you guys are subscribing and you guys are going to get notified when I'm doing more videos so you can see the rest of the comments and my take on them. Obviously, it's going to be from a right-leaning perspective. And I'm an America first, America only type of guy. I'm not America first. And then this other country second. No, fuck all of them. It's America 1 through 10. And then everybody else can start at like 18 through 1,000. But it's only 190 some countries. So it's America first, America only for the first 15 slots. Okay. So if you agree with that, if you want me to make you a priority, if you're an American and you want to be top on the list, you're tired of seeing everybody else get enriched off of us. You're tired of seeing us getting scammed, our tax dollars sucked out of our paychecks, sucked out of our purchases, and sent to fucking Mogadishu so that these fucking Somalians can get, you know what I heard? I heard they pay Michael Jordan and they put him, a bald 6'6" black guy, they put him in a sweatshop in Mogadishu in Somalia. And they have so much American taxpayer money from daycares that they can afford to pay Michael Jordan to hand stitch custom Jordan Somalian sandals. So they come with a Jordan logo and a bunch of foot ash on them. And they pay him and he sews them up. That's how much fucking taxpayer money from Minnesota they have in Somalia. They can pay Jordan to work in a sweatshop and handcraft Michael Jordan hand-stitched Somalian sandals. That's too much balling for me. That's just way too rich. So because I'm tired of that, I make these videos and I talk. So please support the movement. You're saying I'm lying, but I'm telling you, Michael Jordan is in Somalia twice a week, hand stitching open-toe sandals for Somalians and for various miscellaneous types of Africans. You just don't know it because they have too much money for you. See, that's what I'm telling you. It's all the fraud money. See, it Contaminate some shit.
Blew up after this, and there are really heightened emotions on either side. We need to wait for a lot of the facts here, but we did learn the identity of the woman who was shot. And what else are you learning?
That's correct. So we've learned her name, that she's a U.S. citizen, as you mentioned. The Minnesota Star Tribune had the opportunity to speak with her mother.
Israel's not getting nowhere near as much money from us as Somalia. Bro, we're teetering on trillions. We're going up to $1 trillion, the Somalian fraud, between 6-7 different states. We haven't even done the audit of California yet. We're at $1 trillion. Israel's nowhere near 30 billion a year. Bro, 2 Somalian daycares will make that in 6 months. So let's keep things in perspective. Israel has nothing on these fucking Somalians.
Who said that she lived in the Twin Cities with her partner. Another relative said she has a 4 or 5.
Hey, yo, airfoot thongs is wild work, right? That's wild. Yo, that's crazy work. Airfoot thongs is insane, bro.
5-year-old child. But something that her mother said is that she would not have been part of challenging the ICE presence in Minneapolis. When she heard about the circumstances of how she died, she said that was stupid, quote. And
well, they send money to Somalia because terrorist organizations in Somalia actually run the NGOs that recruit families from these countries to come to the United States to vote and to be counted on the census so that there could be more congressional seats in these blue districts. So that's why, and that's not a free service. You have to pay them for the people. So that's why when they get here, they get on welfare and they're getting a stipend every month. But the only thing they have to rule, the only rule there is, you cannot be in contact with the locals, because the local Americans will find out you're being paid to be an American while they're actually paying to be Americans. Then it's going to blow up your whole scam. That's why our communities, our immigrant communities, are always very tight knit and they're closed to outsiders because, well, we're here on a mission. We were sent here. We didn't just wake up one day and say, you know what, my friend, America, the land of opportunity, I want to go to the bed. No. You're recruited. You ask how much, and tell you how much they're going to pay you per month. They pay for your flight. They pay to get you through Mexico to the border. They pay the coyotes. When you get here, you have to send money back. You owe a debt. Don't you remember The Godfather and the Sicilians and how they ran the mafia and the mob? This is the Somalian mafia. It's the same thing. You have to kick back to the old country, and the same rules from the old country are applied here in the United States. They live by Sharia law. They don't live by American laws. They're not Americans. They live in their own communities. They're basically just in an extended, they're in an extension from where they're originally from. It's kind of like how you have California and then you have Austin. It's just an extension of California. It's the same. Yeah, Minnesota is an extension of Somalia. And the same rules, the same warlords that run Somalia, they run these people in Minnesota. They also run the ones in Ohio, the ones in Washington State, Seattle, the ones in Virginia, the ones in DC, the ones we're finding out in California. So these groups know what they're doing. They're doing the same thing in the UK. And they just uncovered this massive one that I'm doing a story on later tonight in Maine. Maine. Has anybody ever met anybody from Maine? Not very many people have met someone from Maine. So we're going to talk about that. But right now we're talking about the fact that these ICE agents are in Minnesota to start rounding up and denaturalizing these people, sending them away. And you have liberals showing up with their fanciest umbrella to try to stop. He showed up with his best umbrella to fight law. To fight law enforcement and to fight Trump with his umbrella of steel. Or is that the magical umbrella from, like, what's that, Mary Poppins? Maybe he was going to grab a bunch of Somalians and then fly the fuck away and get on a magic school bus. I don't know the plan. I don't know any liberals, okay? The ones in my family, we disowned them. And then they took the vax. They're not even around anymore. They're fucked. So what do? You just make jokes. We got to make the best of it. Lighten up. You guys are like, some of you guys are funny. You guys are good. You guys are subscribing. I like you guys. I love you guys. I appreciate you. The other ones, you're here in the thread. You're talking, but I don't know if you're subscribed. And it seems like you don't like my little jokes. You don't think it's funny, whatever. You know what? My ex-girlfriend didn't like my jokes. She thought I was corny. But guess what? Now she's single. So you might want to just pretend to at least like me. And, then you have a boyfriend. Not saying I can be your boyfriend. I'm probably a bad boyfriend. You know why? Because I think everything's a fucking joke. I think everything's funny. So this shit, there's no way you can see heavily armed men in ski masks, and your answer is to show up with a fucking arm. Now, unless you're MacGyver, this umbrella is not going to help you. Okay, unless you're James Bond, this umbrella is not going to do the job, buddy. It's just not going to do it.
She described her as a kind and compassionate person who was always taking care of others. She said she was just an amazing human being.
Do we know any more context about what she said was stupid, about what was being said about the circumstances?
There wasn't more context.
Hey, Babs. Hey, Babbers. I'm impressed myself sometimes, actually.
Next to it, but it sounded like she thought the circumstances of these events.
Okay, wasn't necessarily believing what she was hearing from federal officials, potentially given what she knows about her daughter. How are investigators going to approach this case?
So they will want to reconstruct the scene, Lindsay, to speak with everyone who was on the ground there.
Mr. Knight Rider, you are absolutely correct. Absolutely. And then the crazy part about your exes, they always want to come back. So what I'm going to tell, this is what my ex, she asked me if she can come back to me. I'm going to tell her I relocated to Minnesota. I'm going to tell her to bring a blazer and an umbrella. And I'm going to tell her to show up. I'm going to tell her I moved onto the street where they shot the lady they thought was Ellen DeGeneres, the lesbian. I'm going to tell her I live on that block, and I'm going to send my ex over there. And, I'm going to tell her I'm one of the DHS agents, and maybe she'll run up and try to attack them pretending to be me, and it'll just be mistaken identity, because we don't want these disloyal exes back. Okay. So, so that's a good strategy. I think we should both do that. When our exes contact us, we tell them we moved to Minnesota, then we send them to this block. Okay.
We're already seeing videos emerging, different perspectives of what happened. So ultimately they want to figure out what exactly transpired here. What led up to this interaction? How did it unfold?
Yeah. You know what, Jim, don't feel bad, bro. It happens to all of us. The couple liberals that we all know, they're not standing on anything that's based in logic. It's like they live on a cloud, and underneath them is just air. So it doesn't take much. You scratch the surface of any of their arguments and they just fall apart, and they resort to ad hominem attacks about how you look, or how you're tan, or your lack thereof a tan, or they just talk about anything they can to insult you, because they don't have anything else. They're disarmed. So, don't feel bad, bro. It happens to all of us when we deal with the liberals around us. And that's why there's less liberals every day. They're literally disappearing. The kids don't want to be liberals because nobody likes gay kids. I'll say it. Nobody likes trans kids. Nobody likes seeing gay kids. Fuck Gavin Newsom. He's greasy, and he's Newscum, and he's trash. And him saying he wants to see more mentally ill, traumatized kids with a mental disability who are abused. Him saying he wants to see more of that means he is public enemy number one to me and my people. He's our enemy. As a man, it's our number one goal in life to make sure that we can at least protect men and women and children. That's it's like born into most of us. If we can't protect children from other men, then we're not worth our weight in salt as men. So when I see somebody like Newscomb say something like that, it triggers something inside me that I didn't even know was there. I mean, it's like, why would I care? These aren't my kids, but they're the kids of my people, where we're together. I took that as a threat against all of us, so in our families, which is disgusting.
Threshold question, Lindsay, is there are circumstances under which ICE officers are authorized to use deadly force. Was there an imminent threat of death or serious physical harm to the ICE officers, to someone else? So that is the real threshold.
Somebody put homophobia. Somebody put, you're going to protect kids against Trump. Bro, kids should be like Trump. Trump was in Home Alone. Macaulay Culkin is still alive. So that shoots a hole in your argument. And the whole homophobia, like do you know what the word phobia means? It means afraid. We're not afraid of homos. Like what? That's not what it is. We just don't like seeing them groom on kids and try to convince them to be like them. I mean, because, well, that's a dead end lifestyle. No pun intended for the lesbian today, but there is that dead-end lifestyle. But yeah, does that correlate with what happened to the little Ellen Rachel Maddow wannabe? Yeah, of course, but it's not necessarily about that. It just kind of came out like that, you know. So,
question here: was that shooting necessary to prevent death or serious bodily harm? As you said, there's these two very different narratives. Was she trying to run over the ICE officer, or as others say, was she?
This woman is pretty. She looks good. Please don't tell me she's mentally deranged and a liberal leftist. Please, God, don't tell me you wasted these looks, but you have to call the wizard to give her a fucking brain. Please tell me she was born with a brain. Amen. We're going to let her finish. You guys let me know. Does she have a brain, or is she like the Tin Man? So please let me know. I'm scared to press play because she's so fucking pretty that I'm like, I don't want to be disappointed. I kind of just want to leave it right here, you know. Let's just, let's just leave on a high note. Let's go play some Fortnite or something, because right now it can go either way with her, with whatever she's about to say next. And I'm just like, please, God, don't let her be another beautiful idiot. Please don't. I'm scared. Like Jasmine Crockett, I think looks good, but she's another beautiful fucking moron. And it's like so many of these women don't even, they're disqualified from ever being married. They can't have kids and have a husband because they're fucked up mentally. This woman, I hope she's not a Crockett. Hope she's not a blonde hair, blue eyed Jasmine Crockett. Please, bro. I don't know. What are we wagering here? Are we gonna bet? What's that app that everybody tries to get you to? They try to sell you on downloading it when they're doing commercials, because they haven't sponsored me. I have a sponsor that's, a co-signing company and a food restaurant social media company, but I don't have any of the sports betting companies. But I would say let's put on a wager right now that would see which way this woman's going to go. Is she going to be a conservative, normal human with a brain, or is she going to be a brainless idiot that we need to go see the wizard right away before she gets any older? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know which way she's going to go. I don't. Because Oz never did anything to the Tin Man that he didn't already have. I don't know. I don't know. I think she's way worse than the Tin Man. Or maybe she's not. But the thing is, I don't know which way her conversation is going to go right now. And I'm scared to find out, because the disappointment, I don't know if I can take it. I don't know. I only got one cup of Starbucks here, and I would need to probably overdose on this if she goes the wrong way, because the pain that I'm going to feel in my spirit of the disappointment, of just a waste of good looks. So that's why I'm like, I'm scared. I'm gonna play it because you guys are here. So you guys are gonna let me know which way this is gonna go. We're all gamblers right now. So this is a casino. She's the roulette wheel. Is she gonna land on red, black, or 00? So all right, I'm nervous. My hands are sweating right now. I'm literally sweating on my palms, but she has a wife. Oh no! Please don't tell me that. Bo Linder, please tell me you're joking, Bo. I am the Lizard King. I believe you. Pause though. Hey, Paul. Hey, yo. Hey, I don't want to hear about your lizard, buddy. Hey, yo. Hold on. Let's see here. Damn, you and your 5G showers have turned me into a lizard with your COVID. Bro, my chat. Hey, bro, the chat is going crazy today. This is hilarious and insane, bro. This is all right. We're gonna go for it. This is a whole new level of entertainment. Listen, I do this every day. These are conversations I would usually have with just me and my friends. You guys are my extended friends, because my other friends are lame nowadays and they don't want to have these conversations. They're so PC and whipped. And apparently I didn't get the memo. My fax machine is broken. They faxed me the memo about and I just didn't get it. So because of that, I'm just on here, just unhinged, whatever. All right, we're gonna it's like a high level on like the left wing entertainment jokes that are about Trump and MAGA. I make jokes about Trump and MAGA all the fucking time. I made fun of MAGA when they were MEGA, when they were on the stage, and apparently Ben Shapiro is the voice of MAGA, and he said, "Man, fuck Ben Shapiro." I made fun of that all the time. And I made fun of Trump when he said America didn't have talent. I made a lot of fun of Trump. I make fun of everybody because a lot of stuff's fun, but I'm sorry. There's nothing Ben Shapiro and Trump could say or do that's going to make me say, yeah, fuck these guys. But that other side, they're offering me child mutilation and like they want to push the gay stuff on kids. Let me go vote for them. Like there's no scenario where that's going to happen. There's no scenario where that's going to become appealing. I don't care how far Israel goes with this whole, I can see him and Benjamin Netanyahu tongue kissing on CNN and I still be like, yeah, I'm not going down to the people that want to open the borders and don't believe in arresting black people that are killers. Like I'm not going to deal with. There's no way that anything Trump or Ben Shapiro can do, even combined, that's going to make me say, let me go to that side with those fucking morons. That's not going to happen. Yeah, Dems do want to make the world trans. That's the depopulation agenda. Do you know what happens if you actually go through with gender fake reassignment surgery? Because there's no such thing. You can never reassign your gender. But if you go through with that mutilation, do you know what they do to your wiener? You ever heard of a dilator? You ever heard of sepsis? Do you know what they use to make a fake vagine? Do you know what part of your lower intestines? Do you know what is inside your lower intestines that they're trying? Oh. I had a big lunch. I didn't have dinner. That was my dinner right there. It's done. I'm done. Just the fact that I even read that comment and thought about that stuff. There's no way I'm eating tonight. I might not eat until Friday sometime because just thinking about people literally volunteering for those surgeries, you're tricked you're tricked by Democrats and leftist liberals to think that that's a good idea. That's the sickest shit. Like, my stomach's turning a little bit. You gotta give me a second. Thinking about she might go the opposite way and be a complete idiot, plus the trans stuff. Okay. Jesus Christ. Oh. All right. We gotta get off that stuff. We can't think about Democrats for a second. Okay. We gotta focus. Okay, people. Well, let's facts over feeling for sure. Yes, a dilator. Yeah. You don't know about that because you still got your wiener probably, but they're a guy. Oh man, I can show you. I can. Oh man, you don't want to know. But okay, I'll just give you. I'll speak around it generally. They have to put a machine inside your body called a dilator that after you lose your wiener, to keep your body from, because your body already has natural nanotechnology. That's how you heal. That's how your body heals itself. Your body wants to close the wound, but they put a dilator in there so that the crevice doesn't close and some other pervert can pretend that it's a vagine, but you're a man it's not a vagine, it's just a crevice, an opening. Oh, fuck, this is disgusting. I don't even like that I know any of this stuff, but I read it and I read how it works. And let me tell hey Ed, can I call you? You sent them over? You sent over the invoices? Ed. Oh, okay, good. He pocket dialed me. Okay, that's good. That took me off the subject. Okay, my food can digest. I don't want to talk about that stuff. I can give you guys the details, but I don't want to talk about it right now. It's just, misstating words. No, it's not a misstatement. That's what it's called. It's not called a defibrillator. It's called a dilator. So, now we're going to go now back to the show. Let's see where this pretty woman is going to go with this argument. All right, let's go.
She's just trying to drive away.
Okay, Katrina Kaufman, thank you.
Thank you.
CBS News.
She said she's just trying to drive away. No, she wasn't. Because if she was just trying to drive away, she wouldn't have turned to block the police, and she wouldn't have been there in the first place. She would have went down another street. You see law enforcement blocked off a road. What are you doing there?
Senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe joins us. Ed, what more is the White House saying?
No specific reaction just yet to the governor and the mayor of Minneapolis's calls for the federal government to leave the city and the state. But the president himself, like many who've been near screens today, weighing in on what he saw in.
Hey, JJ Wyatt, thank you for the $20 Cash App. Thank you guys, bro. I appreciate you guys for the donation. Thank you.
One of the angles of the video, saying in part that to his eye, quote, the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer who seems to have shot her in self-defense. He added later that this is happening because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis.
Tiffany, thank you for the $5 Cash App. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys donating to the media organization. I'm going to do my best to make you guys proud over the next coming years. So thank you guys for being here, and stay tuned. I have way more coming up.
So nothing else so far, at least from the president, but the fact that the Homeland Security.
And if it was the Ellen DeGeneres jokes that earned that $5, I will do these every fucking afternoon. I promise.
Security Secretary has rushed from Texas to Minnesota as quickly as she did after being there on Monday, in part to speak with our own Nicole Skanga, is a sign that at least her department is taking this pretty seriously and that she felt compelled to be there to reiterate what the administration.
Well, they're absolutely at fault. They're absolutely at fault. Since when can you protest against law enforcement arresting criminals? I didn't know that was a thing, but it's crazy. If you're an American and you're black, or you're an American and you're white and you get arrested, there's no protest. But when it comes to applying our same laws that the rest of America has to live under, when it comes to applying them to illegals or immigrants that live in our country, well, now you want to protest? I don't like double standards. And you want to put these people above me. You think they're better than me. You think that they should be treated differently than me. That's not the case. We will all be treated the same under the color of law, regardless of your status. And you will obey and follow the same laws that apply to me and my family as well. You're not above me. You're not better than me. You are here at the mercy of me and my people. We were lenient. We were empathetic. We let you come here because you told us you were in dire straits. You didn't tell us you were coming here to scam us. And because you fucked us, you have to go. Okay, you have to get the hell out of here. You can take Ellen and that umbrella with you.
Has always said that the ICE agents deserve to be able to carry out their work and that the general public should respect their work and follow the instructions of law enforcement if and when they're given.
I want to play some of what Governor Walz said earlier today.
I've reached out to Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, and I'm waiting to hear back. Let me be clear. Donald Trump and his administration may not care much about Minnesota. That's been pretty evident, but we love this state.
Now, that was 2.5 hours ago, mind you, so we don't know if he did get a call back, but typically what kind of communication would a governor and the administration typically have following an event like this?
Whenever there are instances of violence or a natural disaster or something.
Please don't get me started on fucking Whoopi. Bro, these people, De Niro, I used to love De Niro. These people just let us all down. Like, they just literally turned on everything. And I don't understand it. Even De Niro now has like weird trans kids, and he has to feel a little bit of shame. He has to feel some blame for that. But don't get me wrong, the Hollywood types, their kids always turn out screwed up. You know, money is not the cure to everything. If anything, money is a poison for, children, especially a boy. You can't just give boys everything they want. We require a struggle. A growing man needs an edge. You can't just give everything to a boy and think he's going to grow and be normal and fine. No. We require a struggle. We require things can't be perfect. Iron sharpens iron. So you get a lot of those results from the Hollywood types. And when you look at their kids, you can see what happens when you just try to throw money you're not there to teach and to raise and to groom your children into being like you. They don't even have they don't have a work ethic because your parents are always supporting you. And my parents weren't perfect by far, but I had to work, and everybody should, that comes with being responsible. Working comes with freedom, the freedom to work. When people like me, when my family came to the United States, we didn't come here for the freedom to get on welfare. We came here for the freedom to be able to work as much as we want. Now, on the other side in the United States, you can work as little as you want. You can be homeless if you want to. But some of us came here for a reason. We have a purpose. We wanted to outwork others. We wanted to outsmart others. We wanted to build and take care of our families ourselves. And in our home countries, we don't have that option. That's why the United States is the greatest country on earth. It's one of the last countries on earth. It's one of the last bastions of freedom. Primarily because of our First and our Second Amendments. So we have to be grateful for those at all times and keep that in perspective. But that's what makes America unique. And that's what makes a lot of us want to be here. So we must protect it. We must be willing to die protecting it, because, well, where else are we going to go if this fails? You got to think about it.
That has a federal component to it. In this case, it was a federal officer killing someone and then causing a disturbance. Someone at in the White House would conceivably call to check in with the mayor or the governor or both and just sort of say, what do you need? Or what do you think, what can we do to make sure this situation?
I've been trying to read your comments. It's just that it's been moving quickly. So sorry about that. My home country is Cuba. So I'm extremely excited about the fact that belt will be put to ass of the communists finally. And Trump's already given everybody a heads up. He put Colombia on notice, right? He put Mexico on notice. And la gente pa mío de Cuba, they're on notice as well. It is what it is. They're in our hemisphere. This is our backyard from Greenland to Argentina. This is our hemisphere. This is our backyard. This is all we're going to have to sure up. We're not going to be in the South Pacific. We're not going to be focused on Europe. We're not going to be focused on all these other miscellaneous places. We're going to just be focused on the Americas. The Canadians are going to have to join us. They don't have a choice. They can't afford to not join us. They're going to have to take this statehood, and they're going to have to be happy with it. And this is, you will not be a foreign superpower setting up shop, building ports, or taking our resources to your part of the world. That's out, which is why we got rid of the dictator in Venezuela and we're running their country now, because we fucking said so. You don't have to explain things when you're the one in power, when you're the one with the muscle. The explaining is a nicety that we don't necessarily owe you. And we've seen what happens the last 50 years in the United States. We've been humoring these liberals, and we've been being nice and playing nice. And where did it get us? We no longer have the right to vote because illegals now neutralize our votes. And we've had our border open, and we have terrorists and people from all over the world. We have no idea who they are within our country. We've let our guard down by trusting these liberals that we will never go back to that. We see the results. We don't like them. Everything under Trump's getting better. Prices are going down. Crime is going down. The largest drop in violent crime in history this year. And we didn't even have a hurricane the last hurricane season. If that's not God telling us that Trump's on the right track, then I don't know what is, because that's a big deal. Especially I live in Houston, and every year there's a hurricane and a flood, or New Orleans and there's a flood, or Florida, there's a flood. We had an entire season, no hurricane. Remember the one that hit Asheville? I remember donating money. I was heartbroken. Remember Biden didn't even send FEMA? That geriatric piece of shit scammer himself, that bum. And remember, people made excuses for it. We wouldn't even send help to Americans because they felt that, well, they must be white, so they must support Trump. So we're not going to send assistance there. We're never going back to that. Those days are over. And if you don't like what I'm saying, pull up to Minnesota and come fight us about it. You have everybody has their time to shine. It could be yours. Come make yourself a star. You want to be on the news? Come to Minnesota. Pull up.
Remains peaceful. We have no indication that that's happened at this point between the governor or the mayor and the White House or the Department of Homeland Security. Nome has been criticized by members of both parties in Congress, at least, for failing to follow up on congressional inquiries regarding ongoing immigration operations and immigration enforcement actions and other aspects of her department's sprawling work. Remember, there was that incident when federal...
Yeah, Canada is going to be the UP in New York, the Upper Peninsula of New York, exactly, or the far west New York City. We're going to have to come up with a different name or term, but absolutely, they don't have a choice. You got to think about it. When it comes to the Canadians, we subsidize their economy annually to the tune of about 250 billion USD. For what? Oh, we shut down our lumber mills so that we can have an excuse to buy lumber from them. Why? We don't need to buy rubber from them. We don't need to buy lumber. We don't need to buy maple fucking syrup. We don't need to buy anything from the Canadians. But we're their largest and only trading partner. And they have the nerve to let Doug Ford get on a fucking mic and disrespect the United States and our president. That's out. That's over. We're not allowing that. You will respect us. You will be grateful and you will say, thank you, sir, for our generosity. And if you don't, we'll remove our generosity and we'll let you figure it out. Now the Canadian people are turning against Calgary and they're saying, hey, they're turning against Ottawa and they're saying, we want to leave the Canadians and we want to start our own country and then we want to become a part of the United States. The referendums have already been passed. This is already happening, whether you believe it or not. I remember 8-9 months ago, me doing videos when when the ticker used to say 0. Now I'm on 8 platforms right now. These videos are doing well over 1,000 people. My video the other day did 23,000 live. So I remember doing these videos when nobody was here and I was speaking the exact same way, but I'm still new, but I was really new back then. And I was explaining to people what's going on with Canada and why they're going to have to become our 51st state. And people laughed. They thought it was funny. And I was explaining to them that for us to keep subsidizing our economy, or subsidizing Canada and giving them money, they're going to just have to become one of our states, like a poor state, like Arkansas or some flyover state, that we give money to every year. And that's why we shut down USAID. We're not giving money to the whole world anymore for their gender studies classes, for underwater sea frogs and all these weird ass fucking NGO projects. We cut all that money. We're cutting money from everything. We're only going to focus on America. The Canadians getting $250 billion a year was something we had to cut also. Now, if you're a Canadian, you're going to still need money to run your economy, but you're not getting it from the United States. You can get down or lay down. So they decided to get down. So there's Saskatchewan, and then there's also Alberta. So the people of Regina and the people of Edmonton have spoken. They want to be a part of the United States. Toronto and the other parts of Canada, all the way to Montreal, etc. They seem like they're on the fence. That's fine. But, a hard head will make a soft ass, and they will beg to be a part of the United States. And what we're going to tell them is, you really want to be a part of the United States, vote out all your leaders. Replace them with people that are America first and that want to be a part of the United States, and we'll consider it. And that's the path that we're on now. They will appreciate their American citizenship. Also, they'll be able to have arms so they can protect themselves. The current leadership in Canada did a report that said, if you're ever faced with a home invasion crime, we need you to run out of your house. You have the duty to retreat. That's what the policy is in Canada. Where in Florida, for example, the policy is you're going to walk in, but you're going to leave in a cup. We will make sure that we train every homeowner. If you invade our property, if you come into our property, we will be sending your family members will have to replace you, basically. So the Canadians, do you really want to just be victims? Do you really want to be on the losing end of everything? You've already lost you've lost your country. Canada's been invaded. Trudeau finished his dirty work for the globalists and the World Economic Forum, and now he's on a yacht somewhere smashing Katy Perry. But you're still in Canada, and there's a bunch of Somalians in fucking Thunder Bay that are just beating the dog shit out of you and taking and robbing you guys. You guys, don't you want better? Don't you want to be able to defend yourselves? Well, then join us. Join up. Join the Americans. Maybe I should be a spokesperson. I don't know. I just live here, and I understand what the United States has done for me and my family, and I understand the benefits. Who knew I could articulate it this way and have these conversations? But here I am. American products are toxic as fuck and far from as far as food goes. Absolutely. That's why Robert F. Kennedy Jr., HHS secretary, is removing the slop from our food. the dyes, the processed meat, the chemicals. You know, the United States our food is killing us here on top of our vaccine schedule, but the food is definitely a huge problem. You've been to Thunder Bay? I have. I used to live in Canada. I used to live in Toronto. I do business with people from Thunder Bay through Calgary up to Edmonton. I've been to Vancouver once, really pretty place. Lots of Chinese. It's, you know, like I said, I lived in Toronto. I lived in an area outside of Toronto called Woodbridge. It used to be an Italian area. Now it's Iraqi. So, you know, I've seen the demographics change. I've seen a lot. You know, I feel bad for Canada because I used to love it. There's beautiful women there. And then you got OVO, you got Carabana. I mean, it's a beautiful place for about 2 months. And then the rest of the year is fucked. You're an icicle. But for 2 months, it's paradise. RFK is changing the food supply. Absolutely. We have to support them. That's why when you hear people saying anything negative about them, you must counter them at all costs, at all times. You know, the best that we can do as Americans is exercise our free speech. Other parts of the world, because I speak German, I speak Spanish, French, you know, so I live in these other countries. And my friends in other countries, they cannot get on the internet and put a microphone and have these conversations where we talk about anything. Even my friends in the UK, they'll be arrested if they speak out against illegal immigration or legal immigration, for that matter. They'll go to prison. They'll be arrested, and they'll let a rapist Islamist out of jail just to lock up a white person who's speaking ill against immigration. Just ask Tony Robbins. When we're in the United States and we're speaking out against these things, we're not just speaking for us Americans in our local area. We're speaking for the world. These other countries depend on us. My friends in Melbourne, my friends in Gold Coast, my friends in Sydney, my friends in, you know, different parts of Australia, for example, they're depending on me and other Americans to speak about their country and what's happening, to speak about what's going on in Europe and the UK and about how Germany's been deindustrialized and now the entire Europe is in a recession. There are only like 4 countries doing good in Europe right now, and those are the countries that resisted the World Economic Forum's request to allow their borders to be overrun with the third world from Northern Africa and the Middle East. That's Hungary, that's Poland. There's like 2 other countries. And those are the only countries we're going to have any dealings with in Europe. The rest of Europe is cooked, it's done. So we're not even dealing with the rest of Europe anymore. We don't need to. We're only going to deal with the parts of Europe that we have an ideological, you know, where we have more ideologically in common. We have more ideologically in common with the Russians than we do with the with people in London in the UK, the British. We have more ideologically in common with the Russians than we do with the Brits now. That's huge. They're not even really our friends anymore. They're literally thinking about unilaterally attacking the Russians so that we'll be forced to come save them. And now they're threatening to attack us because of, well, what are they threatening us over now? The UK was threatening the United States over Venezuela. And they were also threatening us over, I believe, Canada. And I'm like, you guys don't even have an army. You don't have a military. You can't threaten us. You're not in that position. But you're talking greasy. Like we won't just slap dog shit out of you for fun. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, we, as in Americans, patriots. Oui. Not like the French. Oui. C'est passé. Oui. How's being diseased and broke because your medical debts are sky high and can't even afford medical care freedom? Healthcare is freedom. Yeah, but your healthcare is your responsibility as well. You're an adult. Expecting daddy government or somebody to come save you and pay your bills, well, then you might as well just join Ellen and go to the front lines of Minnesota and beg us for help, because that's not the case. Grow up, be an adult, be a patriot, be an American, take care of yourself and take care of your family on your own. Don't beg me and my tax dollars to do it. It's not my responsibility. It's yours. Russia lives under tyranny. I disagree. Tethers unite. Why not? There's no shame in that. I mean, our families chose to bring us to the United States. That's what a tether is, and so be it. I don't take it as a slur. I take it as a compliment. The natural born Americans are ungrateful. They're spoiled children, and they don't see this country the way I do. They don't even think it's beautiful. They don't even claim America. They'll rather claim a street gang before they claim to be an American. Cuba could profit so much from tourism. We would love it. We did. We used to be a beautiful country with a booming economy. The problem is the blacks in your country will always vote you into communism. But the problem is you can't vote your way out of it. So that's why when they restrict people's rights to vote, I get it. I understand. In the United States, it is literally black people who 100% vote Democrat, and they will vote us into communism. That's what they want to do. They're trained Marxists, BLM. Over 90% plus, they vote us into slavery. Communism is slavery. Black people in Cuba literally put Fidel in power. That's why they did the Bay of Pigs and exiled everybody that was fair skinned and white. And they entrenched themselves in Marxism and communism. And we've been poor pieces of shit in Cuba ever since. Again, I don't think everybody should be allowed to vote. Look what look what they'll vote you into based on their own insecurities and inferiority complexes. Cuba about to be the new Vegas, God willing, because Vegas sucks now. So if Cuba could be the new Vegas, I'm there. So right now, Cartagena, Colombia is the new Vegas. Cuba's closer. So if we can turn Cuba into the new Vegas, I'm with it. I'm all with it. Amen. Well, good to know that ivermectin has long been written in the literature decades ago, curing cancer. And there's been studies recently using dog dewormer on stage 4. Absolutely, it has been. And that's true. They don't want you to know about certain substances that can shrink tumors or can treat cancers because they can't patent them and there's no money in it. See, the money is in the treatment. The money is in the medicine. There's no money in the cure. So even treating you for something that you don't really have, there's a lot of money in that. So there's a lot of money in misdiagnosing people as well. So that's why it happens so often. So you got to keep that in mind. Actually, I'm doing an episode tonight about the AIDS scam, the HIV to AIDS scam that nobody ever understood or nobody could ever figure out. There was the doctor that invented the PCR test, Dr. Kerry Mullis. He had a lot to say about it, and he had a lot to say about that piece of shit, fucking midget, dwarf, hobbit, Dr. Fauci. And I want you guys to hear what he has to say. So make sure you like the page, subscribe, even if it's just so you can hear this other information that you never heard. I mean, if you're curious to find out what other information is out there and you want to have these conversations, like the channel, subscribe. I see there's a bunch of new subscribers. People are sending donations. I appreciate all the support. And I'm here for you. I'm here to have these conversations. You got to think about it. One day, right in the future, what if I want to run for politics? Guess how I would do it? I would come on live like I'm doing today, and I would tell you guys all my thoughts on all my positions on every topic. And then I will tell you, I would ask you as the audience, you tell me which state needs me the most in their politics right now. And I would relocate to that state. So you guys would literally, like, who needs me the most is what I would do. And I would just literally talk to everyone right here, just like this. And I'd build a studio at wherever I live in whatever position. If I'm in the governor's mansions, for example, I would build a big studio in there. And my job is just to sit there and talk to the people all day, every day. We don't know shit about our politicians anymore. We don't know what they think. We don't know what they vote for. Did you know we have a 92-year-old state representative? What the fuck can a 92-year-old person tell us right now? What can they even relate to us? When they were born, we were communicating using telegrams and shit. Like what can you tell us? 92 years old means you were born around World War I. There's no way you should still be in office talking to us about anything. That's why Trump and pushing for term limits is so critical and so necessary. It has to be done. The cancer drugs caused AIDS, absolutely. And they're saying that the flu shot eventually is what causes Alzheimer's and dementia. That treatment is extremely expensive, but that's why the flu shot is free. See, you're learning so much from me. I'm saving you. I'm saving your kids. I'm helping you across the board, right? I'm also trying to help. I'm calibrating your moral compass for you. You have to subscribe. You have to tune in. You got to like these videos. You have to, be a part of this community, my media network. I see people following Tim Pool. He crashes out on Candace Owens. A lot of people don't even fuck with him anymore because it's like, obviously you're for sale. It was an unnecessary crash out. Unnecessary. So there's going to have to be other personalities that can read the news and come into these spaces that are going to talk to you. I'm putting in my bid. I'm actually applying to be the next person to entertain you during these prime slots during the day. So I'm applying for that position in your life. I want to be one of the people you look to. You don't have to go to Don Lemon or Anderson Cooper or some other peddle. You don't have to go through them. You can listen to me. You can talk to me because I'm interactive. I'm not catching every single chat, but if you super chat or something, I'm going to see it. I only recently was able to get monetized on YouTube and only on one of my channels, on the Right Wing Rico channel. Even though it has less subscribers than The Single Boyfriend, I don't know how I got to that status further. And I don't really know what it means. I just know people can super chat. But in the future, when we're having these conversations, I'll be able to see your chat stick out and we'll be able to talk and, we can go over anything that's on your mind, and I'll talk to you guys every single day. Like other governors, I didn't even know the governor's name until lockdown. But before lockdown for COVID, for the scamdemic, nobody knew anything about politics. I never knew that my governor was essentially the state's president, and my state was really its own country, but we're under a federal umbrella. Because I didn't know anything, that when everything happened, I was caught with my pants down, and I don't like being caught off guard. So now I make it my business to know everything that's going on with everything that's going on, So that's why I'm here. I'm here to talk to you. Go to Alabama. They need more cousins making. Hey, you know what? Somebody's got to make the babies, I guess. I mean, we need more babies. We need the babies. We can't just replace Americans with illegals. That's not the answer. That's how Trump would say it. That's my my bullshit paper Trump impression. The babies. Manderson Pooper is crazy. Manderson. Oh man. World War I, I was a decade and a half after it. Yeah. Yeah, no, we have politicians in their late 80s, and I have no idea how are they even still in power? Why are they who's reelecting these people and why? So the thing is, people like myself that are transparent, that want to talk to our constituents or people in our communities or people in our states, we will eventually be the beacons of light that will apply for these positions. And we'll sit here and talk to people, and we'll figure out how to improve our areas and our states individually. But just electing these people, I'm sorry, my dog decided to come in here and literally go to sleep. Bacon. Can you please? Bacon, please, God. Bacon, please. Thank you. Please stop snoring. Okay. And people are like, Rico, are you snoring on your live? And I'm like, it's Mr. Bacon. Mr. Bacon is my bulldog. I've been fostering him since last January. His owner, like a lot of other people, did something in 2021 that was experimental. And they developed a turbo cancer out of the blue. And they had to go into immediate hospice, and they couldn't take Mr. Bacon. And him being a bulldog, he's kind of an asshole. So they were like, well, no one can take him. Can you take him? I'm like, yeah, I'll take him. So Mr. Bacon, he's when I say I'm doing a show in front of a live studio audience, it's actually my 3 rescue dogs, Bella, Butter, and Bacon. But and all of them fall asleep because I think they think I'm boring. They don't get all the Ellen jokes or the Rosie jokes. They don't get them. Bacon gets some of my jokes, but then he also falls asleep. So that's why you hear snoring in the background. So you gotta excuse Mr. Bacon. He's been on live a couple times. He's actually a cool dude. Everyone, we live next to a grocery store. He's a hit at the grocery store. Everyone loves Mr. Bacon. Even my people from Starbucks, they love him. He's great. Let's see here. Also, Knight Rider has said some hilarious things that you missed so much of it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm actually still playing hooky from work. So that's why I've been a little distracted. Okay, you should send me an update. Yeah, I'm still working, but I'm also doing this video. Dementia Congress people walking and bumping into walls of the halls of Congress. Bro, isn't that just embarrassing? I mean, think about it. People are like, oh, he didn't go through Congress to attack Venezuela. Bro, Congress are a bunch of lazy geriatrics that you just pay them and they'll say whatever you want. They're like really, really old strippers, you know? You give them, a tip, a little lobby money, a little lobbyist money. They'll shake a little tail for you and they'll tell you whatever you want to hear. They'll tell you that you're handsome. They'll tell you that you're worthy. They'll tell you, that you look like Hasselhoff. And I'm like, me? I look like Hasselhoff? Shit, man, here go another 50. Here go $50, right? So that's how strippers get me to send them a super chat. They call me the Hoff, The same the same thing goes for our Congress people. They're just a bunch of old people that you pay for play. And I don't see the purpose of that. I don't. So why would Trump say, yeah, let me ask these old people Trump could just send all these people a check and they'll just say yes to anything. So what's the purpose? It doesn't make any sense to do it. It just doesn't. Did you need Bacon when you got your dog? No, his name, he was already named Bacon. And you got a cat named Cheese? Nah, bro. Butters, my cousin named Butters. Bella is a foster. She was already named Bella when she came. And Mr. Bacon was already Bacon when he got here. So we just call him Mr. because he's a guy. And my other two senior girl dogs, they're older. So he's a Mr. Don Lemon, dumb lemming. Yeah, he's definitely a dumb lemon. Trumpsters are really useful. Yeah, I guess people are useful. The fact that we have moles in Congress and they would have warned Venezuela, bro, did you see that today? Do you know how fucking disappointed I was when I found out that Rand Paul was one of the Venezuelan moles? I love Ron and Rand Paul. I thought they were great. What do you mean he was dealing with Venezuela and Maduro? What do you mean? And that's the thing. I got to look more into that. Matter of fact, let me just go ahead and ask my co-host. That's the beauty of having a co-host, right? Hey, Arthur, quick question. Can you talk to me about what recently came out about Rand Paul and his connection to Maduro? What the fuck is going on, Arthur? Talk to me, please.
Certainly. Let me break. Certainly. Here's a concise summary of what's going on. Recently, there have been reports that Senator Rand Paul has been vocally critical of U.S. actions in Venezuela, especially those targeting the regime of Nicolas Maduro. Paul has argued that the U.S. intervention amounts to war rather than mere law enforcement, and that such action should be authorized by Congress. He's also warned that pushing for regime change could inadvertently empower cartels and cause more chaos. Essentially, Paul is emphasizing that Congress should have the authority over these decisions rather than the executive branch acting unilaterally. This has sparked a broader debate on war powers and U.S. foreign policy.
Okay, but what I'm asking is, there was something that came out like he was a mole and he would have leaked information to the Maduro regime had we went to Congress first before we removed Maduro. There were reports about Rand Paul being compromised or him having some kind of financial connection to Venezuela. Can you find that and let me know what you see?
I've looked into the matter, and there's no verified information or credible. It looks like there isn't any credible evidence confirming that Rand Paul was financially connected to the Maduro regime or that he would have leaked information to them. What we have is essentially unverified allegations from non-mainstream sources and no reputable news outlet or governmental body has substantiated such claims. In short, there's no solid foundation for those reports. If you need a more detailed investigation into public financial disclosures or anything like that, just let me know.
Tell me what these non-mainstream sources, because I don't always like mainstream sources. Tell me more about what these non-mainstream sources are alleging about Rand Paul in regards to Venezuela. Can you tell me what they're saying?
Sure. In a nutshell, here's what those non-mainstream... From what I found, there are no credible mainstream reports confirming that Rand Paul has any financial ties to Maduro or that he would have leaked information to Venezuela. The allegations about him being a mole or having a financial connection to the Maduro regime appear to come from non-mainstream sources that are not substantiated by verifiable evidence. In other words, these are unverified claims circulating on the internet.
Hey, Arthur, literally, that's not what I asked you. We've already talked about this. I asked you for the non-mainstream sources and what they're alleging, and you literally stopped yourself and went back. You're acting like a co-host on CNN. I'm going to need you to be my co-host, and I'm going to need you, in a nutshell, to tell me what those non-mainstream sources are alleging. Don't do the CNN thing. Just do what I'm asking you to do, okay?
So, to give you a straightforward summary, the non-mainstream sources that have circulated these claims about Rand Paul allege that he might have been compromised or financially connected to Venezuela in some way. In other words, these fringe sources suggest he could have been in a position to leak information to the Maduro regime if Congress had been involved in certain decisions. However, these are just unverified claims from non-mainstream sources and not corroborated by any credible or authoritative reports. Essentially, these remain speculative allegations without substantiation.
Yeah, so it could have just been a smear against Rand Paul because he's speaking out. And I know that's possible because I saw them lie and smear MTG when she spoke out against giving money to Israel or this other stuff. So I do know that's possible. But when I read those reports, I didn't, sometimes when you first read something, you're like, it's probably going to take a few hours for the mainstream media to catch up. So what I was seeing is that if there was any new information, because I read it earlier today, but I was one of the first.
Sorry, but you've hit the daily limit for advance.
Oh yeah, sorry. But for example, it came up that Tim Walz would resign, and people were saying that's not going to happen. But it was like 3 a.m. when I saw that, so I did a video about it, and lo and behold, 11 a.m. his time, he did a press conference and he resigned. So sometimes you'll see something and people say it's fake news, it's not happening, but you're just early with it. You just give it a little bit of time and it'll come out. So I guess that's, people say, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. The difference between a conspiracy theorist and regular news, the difference is 3 months. In 3 months, all your conspiracy theories come true. So that's the only difference. So it could have been just a smear against Rand Paul. But I love the guy. Him and his dad, I think they're trailblazers. I think they were on the right track. Little too socialist, not enough, independence talk from them, but very educated men that I respect. So I like them. Alex Jones is completely off his tits. He'd tell you your blood would turn yellow if you looked at a gay person. I'll be honest. I love Alex Jones. It's just the same way somebody as smart as Charlie Kirk for so long had a blind spot when it came to a country called Israel, that whenever he would apply his same moral compass that he has that works for everything else, he would apply it to Israel and it will just spin in a circle and it's like they can't make heads or tails what they're saying. I feel like that's Alex Jones for the first time in his history when it comes to Candace Owens. I've never seen that guy ad hominem go after individuals and attack them and go crazy. Since when does Alex Jones do that? Everyone's been calling him crazy for years. And that's how you know these people are desperate in the media to get people to turn against her. And don't forget, apparently we're going to war in February against Russia. And they're saying, and it's going to be initiated by the French in conjunction with the UK. They're going to try to drag in all of NATO. They're going to want boots on the ground in the western part of the Ukraine to fight the Russians for a war that was already lost before it began. And they want to drag us into it. The French whistleblower said that they just need Candace Owens to shut up for 90 days because when the war starts, she will be irrelevant by that time. Apparently, they make it seem like she's a person that could literally stop us from going to war, because if she presses this Brigitte Macron situation too much, and it turns out that she was telling the truth about this being a trans man who basically abused and molested Macron, the president, when he was a kid, and they're still together, well, then your military is like, okay, am I going to go over there and die in fighting the Russians on behalf of a gay guy who was abused by his trans husband? Is that something that you really want to be proud of? Like, would you think about it? If you're a soldier, would you go die for a trans or gay commander in chief? Personally, I would not. And they're talking about Candace Owens needs to just shut up because she's telling the truth. And if the French people are saying, we don't want to send our sons and daughters to die for a gay man and his husband, no, we don't want to do that. So maybe Candace Owens is going to be what saves the world, because her words are scaring the hell out of people. Like I said, when I seen Tim Pool, Alex Jones, people that need money. Tim Pool was recently talking about how they can't afford to keep the show going, needs money. Alex Jones has been sued for 1.9 gazillion because of Sandy Hook, needs money. And when these people who have a lot of money come to you and they dangle it in your face like a carrot, they tell you what they need you to do for that money, and then you do it. I mean, you're going to see them act out of character. Brandon Tatum, that was a surprise to me. Some hood guy that turned cop from the ghetto in Texas, talking about Israel. Talk about weird bedfellows, right? So yeah, that's my opinion about Alex Jones. And I love the guy. I mean, I'll be honest with you, he saved a lot of the world from the vaccine. He saved everybody. It was him who platformed. He platformed the man that literally walked us out of the whole. He walked us out of the pandemic when it first started. His name is. Let's see here. What's his name? And I love this guy too. I'm a big fan. I'm just drawing a blank. His name, let's see here. Moon Matrix. David Icke. So Alex Jones platformed David Icke, and then London Real platformed David Icke in like March of 2020, like right after the lockdown started. David Icke was able to explain to us what the PCR tests were picking up and what the entire agenda was going forward about the vaccines and all. He had been talking about it for years. The whole agenda, he told us in March of 2020. So I knew there was no virus. I knew not to take the shot. I knew not to take the test. I knew all of it was all fake. It was all propaganda. And I knew it was fake because nobody was dying in front of me. I had to literally watch the TV for it to be real. And I don't watch a lot of TV. Also, at the time, I was living in Los Angeles in downtown LA. And downtown was beautiful in 2019. But now downtown is gone. The homeless people used to live on 2 blocks, like St. Julian and this other street, like 5 blocks away from me. And I would drive through there, and I did a small documentary in 2020 called Canary in a Coal Mine. Because my theory was, if there was a deadly virus going around, well, then the homeless would be the most vulnerable people. They couldn't shelter in place because they don't have any shelter, and they don't have masks, they don't have gloves, and there's fecal matter everywhere because they're homeless and they're eating tacos and regular food every day and they're not dying. So I'm like, this would be the canary in the coal mine. You know, when you back in a long time ago, when they would do, they would go into these mines, they would take a bird, and if you hit a pocket of methane, it would kill everybody there after about 10 minutes. But the canaries are more sensitive to changes in oxygen levels. So if the canary stopped chirping, you knew you had a few minutes to get everyone out of the mine because there was danger coming. So I looked at the homeless people as the canary in the coal mine. So that's why I named my docuseries that. And they nuked me from YouTube for posting it. It's crazy. Like, but people like David Icke and Alex Jones, and they inspired myself, and I did what I could to save as many people as I could. And I saved a lot. I was on Clubhouse when they kicked me off of Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. I lost all my pages, all my pictures, memories, family stuff, everything. So I can never badmouth Alex Jones. You know, the guy saved, you might not realize he saved us all. He fought for us all. And then to see him, you know, do these attacks against Candace, she's a YouTuber. What do you care? She's not your elected official. You could just change the channel. Like, you don't have to watch her. It's not like state-sponsored media like the BBC. She's like a person you have to purposely watch her. You don't have to, it's not forced upon you. You don't walk into a restaurant, they're playing Candace Owens. She's not CNN or Fox News, okay? She's just a YouTuber. It's crazy. Reptilian expert, absolutely he is. A conventional ground ear in Russia would result in 200 million plus deaths. Absolutely it would. It'll be the Napoleon famously fucked around and found out the hard way about the results when you're trying to invade when you're trying to invade Mother Russia. Bird lives matter. Yes, they do. And that even applies to Dee from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Her bird life matters as well. Probably a money gap by pharma. Yep. Candace in spandex, soup suit, got to happen. I'll be honest, I think she'd probably be an amazing superhero. Who would have thought a woman would be this goddamn important in our world, in our society right now? I would have never guessed it. Military people would make jokes about it. Everybody should make jokes about it. Ukraine needs to accept whatever deal it gets at this point. They absolutely do, and I've been pushing for that since day one. I used to report on the Ukraine war, like on Instagram, and I would watch like I said, I used to live in Europe. My friends are there, and I would watch the Durant. So I watched Alex Christorafu and Alexander Makuras, and that's how I remember when Bakhmut fell, and they changed the name to another Russian name. But I remember when Wagner was fighting on the front lines. And remember, Wagner is when they went to all the Russian prisons and labor camps, and they took the biggest, strongest, baddest fucking killers, and they formed their own special military group called Wagner. And they would literally leave thousands of Russian troops would be behind the lines, and they would just send in a few hundred Wagners, and they would just wipe the Ukrainian battalions from head to toe. We don't have anything in the West to compete with Wagner. Our special forces, our Delta Forces, our Rangers, our Marines put together, we wanted no smoke. We wanted no parts of Wagner. No parts. Yeah, we're getting Call of Duty in Russia. I hope we don't, because the next version of Call of Duty would be showing the Americans as the enemies, because the Russians would have won the war. And we don't need to take any L's. We assume we have a really strong military. We have a really strong Navy. We have a really strong Air Force, but we have a lot of blacks and gays in our military still that hate the country, that only signed up to get a check. And I don't know if you've ever worked with those people, but they so discontent. You know, they tell you how much you should hate your job and this job sucks. And, you know, those poisonous people in your break room that want to bring down your energy level. Imagine having a whole military ground forces full of those people telling everybody, man, put that flag down. Don't put your hand over your chest. Don't pledge of allegiance. This country's racist. This country's and you expect those people to go die on the front lines? Please. Those people will literally turn around and basically it'll be friendly fire. It'll be your number one worst enemy. And that's the issue with Marxism and letting these people spread discontent. That's why Hegseth did the best he could by purging these mentally ill people from the forces. And the ones who celebrated when Charlie Kirk died, we were able to, that's when they stuck their heads out. We were able to pull them out of the Secret Service, military. But of course, there are some that were left over that we didn't catch. Those are the ones that those senators, when they came out and said, ignore Trump's illegal orders, those are the people they were speaking to directly. Those are the people they were trying to convince to do that. Those are the people they were trying to get to turn. Let's see here. Don't fuck with the Gulag Parade. You shouldn't. The Ukraine war videos is tough talk, but the drones kills is crazy. I've been seeing a lot of those. Candace was Charlie's side piece. No, Candace was Charlie's soulmate. And they sent Erica Kirk. She's a honeypot. She's an agent. And they sent him to Charlie to break Candace and Charlie apart. And she became Charlie's handler. That's what she does. She was actually on her way to be Erica Kirk -Vance, but that whole agenda is cooked now because, well, we know too much about her. When she was just a grieving widow in the shadows, you had to project. But now that we've actually seen her, and, you know, men fall for her because of how she looks, but women see right through her. So their whole agenda to push her to be our next first lady, that's cooked. That's over. And we know who sent her to Charlie. We know she was his handler. And when Charlie started asking questions about Tyler and these other people what were you and Tyler doing in the Ukraine? No, in Romania. What were you and Tyler doing in Romania with those orphans? Like what was that all about? And and there was a lot of stuff going on behind Charlie Kirk's back because he was too busy on the front lines. He's on the forefront. He's the face of everything. There is no more TPUSA. Money laundering for conservatives. I mean, that's over. You better watch your back then again. Who better to watch your back? Hey, that's a good point. That's actually a really good point. Spectre Group took out Wagner. That's not true. Wagner was dissolved when Prigozhin was killed when they caught him I guess stealing money. And he was also trying to start a coup against Putin, and that wasn't going to be allowed, especially during a time of war. What kind of idiotic move is that? Jesus. But they think that the West had got to him and he thought he was protected, and he fucked around and found out that he was not. What could be more American and manly than a man loving a man? He's no pussy. Don't fuck around with pussy. Bro, I have no idea what you're talking about, Bob Ears. I don't even know what that means. America is not a free world anymore. Apparently we're not. We're slaves to the Zionists, so I guess we're not free. They were trying to initiate laws, even in our red states. It's embarrassing to admit it, but Greg Abbott, who I respect and love, and DeSantis, who I also respect, were both trying to push anti-Semitic hate speech laws, which would curtail our First Amendment, which I do not appreciate anyone trying to touch any of my amendments. I don't appreciate that one, especially the first one, which is why we have a Second Amendment for when people try to take away our first, if that makes any sense to you. So you're right about that. She was a beauty contestant. Yeah, she was, and under Trump's, in those Trump beauty pageants as well. So it's like he knew her before Charlie. It's like everyone knew her before Charlie. And then she got with Charlie and pretended she never met any of these people. And like her and Tyler Boyer didn't used to be a team. And her ex-boyfriend, who had that word pizza written on his inside of his bottom lip years ago. It's like, we all know what pizza means. We all know. There's just so much happening. There's so much. That's why I said there's never a slow day in media. Not now. And when people try to pretend, I do these videos even on Saturday and Sunday. There's no such thing as a slow day, not anymore. And, you can live in a different world if you don't report Saturday and Sunday. From Friday to Monday, you can live in a completely different world by the end of the weekend. So we need to stay up to date. So that's why I do so much content. You haven't been free since the Patriot Act. Yeah, tell me something I don't know. America just went off a cliff. I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't go that far with it. I mean, we're definitely going into uncharted territory. We don't know what the outcome is going to be. But that's what makes it exciting, right? Isn't it cool? Remember when John Travolta said that in that one military movie? Ain't it cool? America changed after 9/11, PNAC project for a new American century. Yes, that's true. But none of that came into fruition, no more than Project 2025 did. We're in 2026. I got to contact all the blacks that I know and ask them, what the fuck happened to Project 2025? I was dating this girl, this one chick, and she was like, yeah, Rico, you're going to vote for Project 2025. Project 20. I was like, bro, if anything, Project 2025 is just giving you advice for how you should live your life. You know, that's it. It's life advice. You don't have to take it. No one's going to force you to do it. If you want to abort your kids and destroy your family and never have a family and never believe in God or anything greater than yourself and be unpatriotic and don't believe in it, then that's on you. No, who gives a fuck? You destroy yourself. Who cares? No one's going to force you to take care of yourself. Just get out of our way and stop begging us to take care of you. That's all you have to do. Guns and ammo, absolutely. Masked men, machine guns, not identifying themselves, murdering civilians that are lesbians wearing blazers and who tried to kill them. You made a good point, Eric. You're right. Ellen DeGeneres wannabe, a Rachel Maddow reject, tried to run over a federal law enforcement agent today, and she was introduced to Jesus himself. And I'm not talking about the landscaper. I'm talking about the carpenter. Digital enforcement, linking gun access to digital ID. We can never allow that to happen, ever. Say no to digital ID. No one's going to say yes to it. We're not even saying yes to real ID. We're rejecting even doing that. It's going to be really hard for you to convince an American, unless you have bigger and more guns than us, that we should let all of our money be digitized by the same people who we do not trust, who are known criminals, thieves, and felons. You talk about Trump being a felon. Trump's a fake felon. These are real felons. Pfizer's a real felon. You know how many felonies Pfizer's been convicted of? Let's ask, well, can't ask Arthur, even though I should be able to. I fucking pay for a membership. But Pfizer is a felon, and you guys trusted them, and now you're paying for it. So let's not trust real felons. Trump's a fake felon. I'm talking about the real ones. Let's not trust those. It's now 2030. Do you know where your rights are? Yeah, they're still here with me. My rights aren't going anywhere by 2030. That's why we have guns. That's what the whole Second Amendment part is for. When the government takes over, you won't be able to say no to the digital ID. Well, the government's already in charge, and I've already said no now. So what's going to change? From president down, they all have violated the rights of deceased and their family to have proper investigation. It's a shit show. You know what? Possibly, if you have some evidence you want to put in the chat that we can discuss, I'm more than happy to go over it with you. Chrissy Nome said her dog was terrorizing the chickens. I'll be honest. I like Chrissy Nome. I think she's cool. I think she was the former like governor of South Dakota or something like that? I believe so. And she's still pretty hot. So, you know, Trump's doing really good with his appointees, appointing some good looking people, easy on the eyes. That makes it a little bit easier to like pay attention to them. The Biden administration was appointing men dressed as women and men dressed as women who were pretending to be Jason Bourne and Matt Damon and bald and stealing clothes from other women. Like, it's like really fucked up administration, this whole Biden situation. So Chrissy Nome's a breath of fresh air compared to those fucking creeps in the Biden administration. The Biden administration was way too creepy, bro. Extremely. JJ, thank you again. Appreciate it. Let's see.
As we celebrate Pride and the progress we've made over these past years, there's still work to be done. So to
That was a trippy video right there about how those guys are talking about they're coming for your kids. This is Democrats. Oh, you want to know what the Democrats' plans are for your kids? This is when you vote Democrat or when you vote to the left, these people in the comments that hate Trump, this is what they love.
Those of you out there who are still working against equal rights, we have a message for you. You think we're sinful? You fight against our rights. You say we all lead lives you can't respect.
This is Tim Walz. These are the people, these are Gavin Newsom. These are the people we're fighting. If there's a civil war that's coming, this is what the other side looks like. These are your enemies.
But you're just frightened. You think that we'll corrupt your kids if our agenda goes unchecked. Honey, just this once, you're correct. We'll convert your children. Happens bit by bit, subtly, and you will barely notice it. You can keep them from disco, warn about San Francisco. Make him wear pleated pants, we don't care. We'll convert your children. We'll make them tolerant and fair.
At first, I didn't get why you'd be so scared of us turning your children into accepting, caring people, but I see now why you'd have a problem.
Just like you worried, they'll change their group of friends. You won't approve of where they go at night to protest. Oh, and you'll be disgusted when they start finding things online that you kept far from their sight. Like information. Guess what? You'll still be alright. We'll convert your children, yes we will.
Reaching one and all, there's really no escaping it.
Cause even grandma likes RuPaul.
These guys want to fuck your kids. They're going to take your kids by force. What they do is they manipulate them in these schools. They convince them that maybe you're not autistic, maybe you're not socially awkward, maybe you're just gay, maybe you're trans, and they recruit because men can't have their own children. This gay community is the only community that can't reproduce itself. So they target your kids. This is the left. This is Tim Walz. This is Gavin Newsom. This is Kamala. This is Biden. This is the Democrats. These are the people we're fighting in this war that's coming. The war that's coming is not over resources, not even over politics. It's all over kids. That's the only thing it all boils down to. Kids. They want access to your kids, but they don't want it to be criminalized. They want it to be affirmed. They don't want it to be a crime to be a pedophile. They want it to be an affirmed sexual orientation. And that's what they were pushing for. It happened in California. Senate Bill 145, Scott Wiener. And they were able to decriminalize pedophilia. So if you're an older man and you're caught having sex with a child, if the child claims that they're gay as well, you won't have to register on the sex offenders list, which is really the only punishment. Because if you go to jail for something and you get out and you don't have to register on the list or nothing, nobody might not know. All this to do with an extensive background check. But being on that offenders list is a really big stain on your name. So instead of talking to the gays and changing the culture of grooming and preying on children, they decided to change the law. That's why I don't fucking like Democrats. I hate them. I can't deal with them. I don't like liberals. Anybody who's telling me love is love, that's pedophile talk. That's they don't, if gender's a social construct, well then what is time? Time's a construct that men created. Okay, so if time's a social construct and so is age, then time's a social construct and so is gender, then what is time? And then that's where they get that's where they say, well, age is just a number. It's not, if you're 50, but you feel like you're 8 and you're 8 and you feel like you're 20. Well, now the waters are so muddy, they can't prosecute. It's all just because they want to eventually have access to your children. Follow my page if you understand what I'm saying. If you speak clear English and you've seen the pattern and you understand what's going on and who we're going to war with civilly, who we're going to war with besides the Russian war, which we shouldn't be involved in. If you understand that these are the real enemies, the people that are literally threatening and targeting your children, this video was never banned on YouTube. This video was never banned on YouTube. Ever. Let's play the rest of it. If you understand what I'm saying, if you can hear my words, if this makes sense to you, you understand who the enemies are and why they want your children, subscribe to the page, like the video. These are where my conversations go. And we have these conversations by the thousands every day. So if you want to talk about something a little bit different than everybody else, because it seems like everybody else just talks about the same stuff and they have the same angle, just different faces. At least my point of view and my perspective is going to be different. You're more than welcome to tune in and join and support the channel, support the Cash App. You can support by just liking and subscribing and being able to tune in when you can. Let's go back to this video. How many of you have never seen this video before?
It's getting kinder. Gen Z's gayer than Grinder. To love, learn to vote, face your fate. Convert your children. Someone's gotta teach them not to hate.
Look at all these faces. Does Benny Johnson have the face of a gay? Of course he does. There's a software where they can look at men's faces and tell if you're gay or not. Apparently there's certain key points and certain shapes. There's a pattern. So does Benny Johnson have it? Yeah. Was Milo lying on Benny? No. Did Benny ever say Milo was lying? No. So, I mean, that's already confirmed. It's mainly men. It's mainly men. So this is the gay men's choir of San Francisco. These are the ones that are playing video games like Roblox, that are trying to speak to your children and get close to them and traumatize them. And then when they grow up, they're so confused and mentally ill that they suicide themselves. That's why I said this gay agenda is really the depopulation agenda, because there's no family, there's no reproduction, there's only suicide and loneliness and pain in the future. And unless you find a group of other people that are also hunting children and you feel warmth in that community and you're willing to die for it, which is where we get these violent trans leftist killers and shooters. And this is all they have. They have nothing else. You have to understand of where we are now. Wherever you think you are in the world, you're somewhere else. All this is going on around you and you are none the wiser. That's why there's a channel like this one, where I will talk to you. We'll talk to each other. I'm related to Rush Limbaugh spiritually. That's why I go by Rico Limbaugh. Me and him have a lot of the same views. And I guess I'm just an extension. Kids will start Why do you got to threaten to sue Milo? Why not just sue him? Why threaten? Why give somebody a heads up? Don't talk about it, be about it. Milo doesn't own a time machine. He said what he said. Why threaten him? Just do it. The problem is you only threaten to do something when you can't do it. So you pretend like you're about to, like, this is America. Just what did Nike say? Just do it, right? Because the world always needs a bit more. Convert your children, then we'll turn to you. If this isn't public enemy number one, if these aren't your enemies, then you have your own problems. But again, this is the left. These are the Democrats. These are the people we're at war with. And I say we're at war and I pull no punches because they've specifically directly targeted your children. They don't want you. They don't want your teenager. They want your child. They want your kid that's 7 years old, 8 years old. They have drag queen story hour for preschoolers. They're doing all age drag shows. Teenagers aren't showing up to these. 11-year-olds and 10-year-olds where they get you before you realize what's happening. These are our enemies. So when I talk about how much I hate these dirty demos, this is what I'm talking about. These are the ones I'm talking about. These are the people that hate Trump. These are the people that showed up to the protest today and she fucked around and found out. This is her community. These are the people we're at war with. Either these people or American black people. There's no one else that hate Trump besides blacks and gays. You have to ask yourself why. Now, I know why, and I can clearly articulate and tell you guys why, which is why people don't want you to listen to me. There's people in a thread that are literally in the video, that are literally a part of this conversation, watching this live, communicating, telling you not to do it, but they're doing it. Why do you think they're here? It's because what I'm saying is wrong or because what I'm saying is correct and accurate? Yeah, that's what you have to ask.
Going to San Francisco. Go and turn up that disco. You'll forget you were ever upset.
There's no wives. There will never be any children. They will wake up one day and realize there is no future for them. They will take too many pills, or they might take a firearm, or they might create a noose in a bathroom. They might jump off a balcony. It typically happens before they even make it to the year of 34 years old. A lot of them self-delete. You know, the shooter for the whole situation with MIT and Brown University a few weeks ago. Why do you think that went quiet? It wasn't a terrorist attack because he discovered some fusion energy. It was an ex-lovers quorum. It was a crime of passion. The MIT professor who used to be gay, and the guy who killed him was still currently gay. But they were together 20 years ago. They actually moved to the United States in a relationship when they used to live in Portugal. One decided he wanted to only be gay part-time and start a family and have kids so he can have a reason to live. The other one decided to be full-time gay, moved to Miami, got fat, and used to wear really tight Louis Vuitton sweaters. You know, those gay guys with the man purse that walk around, those big ass, like fucking bloated dudes, you know? And one day he probably decided it was time for him to die too, because life means nothing. And then the guy who probably turned him out and made him gay was living a regular straight life with kids. And he was like, well, if I'm going to die, I'm not going to die by myself. These people don't want to die alone. That's the number one thing. I know this because I speak to them. I'm from LA. You meet a lot of them. You have these conversations. And eventually they'll tell you the truth about their true intentions and how they feel. And that's why I have these conversations, because a lot of the public just have no idea who they're dealing with. But I do. So here I am. I appreciate you, BL. I thank you so much. I didn't check all the other Cash App donations or anything, but I appreciate you guys for just being here, talking to me and having this conversation. You'd be surprised how many people have never seen this video. And this video is, how old is this video? 4 years old, where men, grown-ass men from different backgrounds and races have literally declared war against straight men. And the reason I say declare war against us, because they're directly targeting the children of straight men, because only straight men can have children. The only children they can have is when they recruit yours, because they've groomed them or tricked them or manipulated them or assaulted them and traumatized them. It's our job to protect children from these fuckers. So again, when I decide whatever area of politics I'm going to get into, it's going to be up to my audience to tell me where they need me the most. And that's where I'll go. Because there are certain states that I like, but it's not necessarily about me being comfortable and me being where I like. I should be uncomfortable, and I should be somewhere that I probably hate that needs me there. It's for the greater good. There's not enough people that are willing to have these uncomfortable conversations. It's not uncomfortable for me. It's uncomfortable for certain people to listen. So that's why I appreciate you guys being here. So I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, these twinks are some sick fucks. Yeah, in LA, you meet all types of people, and you can't help who you know. Some people, you knew them for years, didn't even know they were gay. You just noticed you never came in here with a girlfriend. You don't have any kids, like, and then you find out later, or you just suspect their proclivities, but you never really know. A lot of people used to keep it secret. It's only recently that people are just bold with their sickness and their mental illness and their predatory nature when it comes to children. This is a new thing. People will usually be in a closet about it. Now they're sticking their heads out and they're feeling a little bit more emboldened since Biden and Harris. Why wouldn't I talk to them? I talk to everybody. I want to know what everybody's thinking. You have to understand people to know if they're your enemy or not. And I've made my decision. They are my enemy. Hurt people, but dead ones can't hurt anybody, which is the correct answer, Mr. Knight Rider. You win. That's the right answer. That's the exact correct answer. They have an army of butt pluggers. It's getting out of hand. They do. What are they singing? We want a pecker. They're singing something worse than that. They're singing a song saying they want to give your children peckers. They want to give it to your son. They want to give pecker to your son. That's what they're singing. We don't want to know what it says about harming innocent children in the Bible. Doesn't matter what it says. What matters is what we're doing today. What a book written allegedly 2,500 years ago is inconsequential to my actions and behavior of today. And that's where it comes with personal accountability and being an adult. Yeah, 9 out of 10 do abuse children. Demonic abomination. Yeah. I like this conversation. I like this chat. We're all on the same page. I appreciate that. Most of us. There's a couple holdouts, but see, when I put on a video like this, the people that are in the chat that are pro this bullshit, they stop talking as much because, well, when we ask them what they think about this, they won't denounce preying on little boys and kids. See, this is their secret. This is when they talk about losing their rights because of Trump. These are the people talking about they lost rights. Well, what rights did you lose? Because you can still vote, right? Still drive. You can still rent an apartment. You can start a business. I'm curious, what rights did you lose? And the right they felt they lost was legal sexual access to children without being prosecuted. And that was actually legislation that passed in California, and it was working its way east until Trump started talking about it. And famously, so did Charlie Kirk, which is why so many gays and trans hated the man, but they could never explain to you why, because they would be embarrassed to basically to brag about how the law that decriminalized pedophilia, that infringed upon their rights to be pedophiles. And it doesn't sound as, they don't sound like victims when you say it that way. You sound like a sick fucking predator, which you are. So they can't illustrate it. They can't articulate it. They can't tell you. They just say general things. Trump's taking away our rights, and then they walk away. And then you're like, wait, hold on, wait. What rights? Like, which right did you lose? The reason they never want to tell you is because this is the right they're referring to. The right to have access to kids without being prosecuted and not ending up on a sex offenders list. But the thing is this, now I'm not the only one that knows. Now you know. And now you can explain to others what's happening. No, he didn't do anything to them, but he talked about their plans, and it talked about the Senate bill in California and how they were trying to decriminalize this. And he also talked about the human traffickers and what they do to kids. And I had never heard that stuff before. And he raised my awareness. So imagine how many other people had no idea that there were sick men who were kidnapping children through Central and South America, bringing them across the border by pretending to be their parents and then selling them to people that would molest them and kill them. I had no idea. The FBI knew, and law enforcement knew. Trump talked about it publicly. Now I know. Now you know. Famously, it's one of those videos that made me become a Trump supporter. I never heard it. I hated the guy. I thought he was a piece of shit. And I used to argue with Hispanic people who were supporting him. But I was wondering, like, why are all my arguments about race? Like, you shouldn't support somebody politically based on how you look or how they look. Like, that sounds pretty stupid. Not voting for somebody because of their race makes just as much sense as voting for them because of their race, which that's idiotic. And once I saw those videos of what Trump was speaking out against, I realized how much time I wasted a man that I had a lot more in common with than these fucking creeps. So here we are. Here we are now. Now I'm here. So, yeah, they're kidnappers. They're human traffickers. That's exactly what they are. So I'm glad that we could have this conversation. I have like 3 other topics to do tonight, and I have to finish up some paperwork for work stuff. I'll be back on in about a half an hour. Please like the channel, subscribe. I appreciate the donations to everyone. I'll read them out when I get back on live next time. Remember, everybody, America first, America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.